Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Laying Up podcast, presented by our friends at Titleist, the number one ball in golf. My name is DJ. We got a delightful, tidy little episode today as we are going to recap our trip to Nebraska that many of you may have seen over, documented in our YouTube video that we did over on our YouTube channel. We put out a film just called No Laying Up Nebraska. We covered a lot of different corners of the state. And it turned into one of our favorite videos ever. So if you haven't watched it, please go watch it. If you have watched it, today's episode is going to shed a little bit more context for you on what we got into and some of the stuff that didn't make it into the video. So looking forward to breaking that down with Neil and Tron. But before we get there, we are presented today by Titleist, and our friends at Titleist wanted to use their time today to shout out the ALS Bridge Foundation, and specifically a guy named Peter Broom, who had an amazing 30-plus year career at Titleist and Acushnet. He's clearly a guy that has made a huge impact on the industry. He was only the 13th honorary PGA member in history. And Peter was diagnosed with ALS almost 2 years ago. And as a result of that, started the ALS Bridge Foundation, whose mission is to connect researchers with ALS patients, to raise money, to fund research, to expand access to new trials and innovations, basically to make progress towards a future where ALS is a treatable condition. And so why are we talking about this today? Well, on Friday, the ALS Bridge Foundation launched an auction to raise money with some pretty amazing golf specific experiences, prizes up for grabs. You can bid on rounds of golf with Justin Thomas, with Ricky Fowler, with Luke Donald, with Jim Nance. There's all kinds of other stuff. A putting lesson with Brad Faxon. Who doesn't need that? Full day experience at TPI. A lot of people have asked about, how do I get an experience at TPI? That'd be a good way to do that and support a great cause. There's trips to Pinehurst. There's all kinds of things that you can bid on over at alsbridgefoundation.com. That's alsbridgefoundation.com, where you can check out the auction and more information on what they're doing over there. So thanks to our friends at Titleist, and best of luck with the auction over there to the ALS Bridge Foundation. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Gosh, we got a good one today, guys. It's going to be a very fun trip to relive. We're going back to Nebraska, at least in our minds. And to help me do it, I've got the brothers Schuster, the stars of the hit No Laying Up film, NLU Nebraska. First of all, the brainchild of this trip, Tron Carter, also known as Todd Schuster. TC, how are you?
I'm great. Howdy. I'm still, I have to go back country now that we're venturing back to Nebraska.
Kind of a tough look with you going country, but then totally butchering that Toby Keith quote.
Very tough.
That's tough. A tough look for one of country music's native
I would
sons.
say I evolved the quote. I didn't butcher it.
And of course, his baby brother Neil Schuster, also on the pod. Neil, how are you, my man?
I'm good. It's good being with you. I'm gonna crack open a Coke Diesel here. It's Friday, gentlemen.
I thought it was a
no. I got it. Just
Jesus. Guys, like I said, we're going to go back to Nebraska. We put out a video. I don't know when this podcast is coming out, but probably a couple weeks ago by this point, showcasing our road trip, the road trip that the three of us and Ben took through the sandhills of Nebraska last summer. One of my favorite trips we've ever taken, one of my favorite videos we've ever put out. Shout out to our friends at Yeti for making that one possible. TC, let's start with kind of the basics. How long has this been swimming around in your head, and how did this one come together?
This one's been swimming around in my head for probably at least 5 or 6 years. First time I went to Nebraska was like 2018, 2017, maybe 2018. And then we did a video at Wild Horse.
When you were playing lefty, I believe.
Yeah, I was playing lefty. And we did a video at Landman as well, which is in a different part of the state. People were like, "Why didn't you go to Landman?" Because it's 4 hours away from these places that we went. It's not the Sand Hills.
No old head, man.
Exactly.
That's right.
But Neil, I would say Landman is more architecturally significant than Old Head.
You understood what I was going for there.
I did. But yeah, it's just been like each time I've been in Nebraska, I've loved it. I've wanted to get back. I've wanted to share it with my buddies and share it with the world a little bit. And yeah, so this has been kind of a passion project of mine for like, all right, like, but also, hey, can we film at Sand Hills? Can we, like, you got to establish
big
credibility and relationships and all of that stuff. So, yeah, it's been a long time coming.
Neil, what were your, I don't want to say, I guess preconceived notions. I mean, what did you think you were getting into? How did that differ from reality? Just talk to me about kind of pre-trip, post-trip, and the similarities or disconnects between those two things.
I was thinking more Great Plains and less rumple stilts. Just some real land movement in Nebraska
Crazy.
that I did not know about. Like canyons and trees and a lot of stuff that I didn't expect. I have been to Neil would be the closest, eastern Colorado that I've been here. So I was expecting a lot of that, which we saw. And, some courses kind of have that Neil look, but just a lot of diversity of landscape that I wasn't expecting. And to quote Big Randy, just nostalgic for a place I've never been is I felt that way like every day in Nebraska. Where it's like I've never been here, but man, I feel like I have, and it's like nostalgic for a time I was never a part of. Felt like going back in time and in the best ways possible.
Feels like home to me, as our guy Jake
Mhm.
Trago would say. TC, what a lot of directions we could go with this one. Obviously, you've got Landman in one corner, you've got, a lot of other stuff in the complete opposite corner. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it can be difficult, I think, for you to whittle these trips down. There's when there a lot of times there's 16 options for 4 slots. How did we end up kind of zeroing in on where we went?
Yeah, I think Neil talked about diversity. You want diversity of landscapes, but you also want diversity of courses and of clubs, of the Bayside, Mr. Belding's place,
Can I
that
say
sort
on
of
that
thing.
on that note super quick, Kevin and Ben are our video guys that Ben Hoteling people know. Kevin Jackson, who is a masterful editor and shooter, works on a bunch of our stuff. No idea. They had no idea. It's such a happy accident that made it in the edit, the Mr. Belding's Place stuff, because they're like, I don't know what that is. You guys are
They're not saved by the bell.
no,
They
they
missed it.
completely missed it. No clue what any of those references are. It's like I got more gray hair than ever here, but
Yeah.
I
Kelly
never
Kapowski,
felt
AC
never
Slater,
felt older than
Jesse
that.
Spano when she took what'd she take? The
Caffeine pills or something,
yeah.
right?
caffeine
Yeah.
pills. Kind of like you with the Celsius.
Yeah. Stacy Carosi, Mr. Carosi at the beach club, all
But
that
they're like,
stuff.
I don't know. We put it in the edit because you guys seemed super confident about it, but we had no idea what that was. Anyways, Mr. Belding's Place, Frederick Peak, so on.
Yeah, just making sure that we got the full spectrum, because I think obviously, we went to some highly exclusive, highly private places in Sand Hills and Cap Rock Ranch, especially. We went to, more of a resort place in Prairie Club, but just as easily Dismal River could have fit into those buckets as well. Gray Bowl as well. So it's kind of making sure that you get places that are representative of the different types of clubs, and then Mullen or Augusta Wind or Thedford, like those places, kind of just more honesty box, mom and pop shops, and then you got Wild Horse, which kind of sits in the middle of all these places. That's kind of the best of all worlds. So I think something important to keep in mind, like with Sand Hills too, is it's exclusive, and not a lot of people that watch this video are going to get to go experience it. I don't think that means that we shouldn't cover it, or we shouldn't. I just think that there needs to be balance, right? And I think that Sand Hills is somewhere that kind of spawned an entire generation of great golf courses, whether that's Bandon Dunes or Barnbougle or Cabot, Cabot,
Or
Nova Scotia,
or
or
Wild Horse right down the road.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think there's, even if you don't experience Sand Hills, it's tangentially experienced through some of these other places that popped up, Sand Valley as well, that popped up, and it kind of, established that stuff was possible, right? And yeah, so and also, like, Sand Hills is like, it's not fancy, right? It's very rustic. It's very much about the golf. Like, I think it's one of those places where you go, and like Neil, you said, hey, I kind of get intimidated at these places my first day or my first round. And I think,
For
I
sure.
think Sand Hills, it's maybe disarming in certain ways, but it's almost even more intimidating because it is rustic and it's different from any exclusive private club that you've been to, where it's like, oh my gosh, like they're like guys are just drinking beers out on the porch and eating burgers here, you know?
Yeah, I think I said it you feel like you're in the museum, and I'm like, "Oh, it's especially Sand Hills, it's so quiet out there." You're like, "I don't wanna mess anything up." I'm like, "Oh god," you get intimidated by like, "Man, this is a heard so much about it. I'm overwhelmed with seeing it for the first time."
I I always think about these trips too, and hopefully this isn't too like how the sausage is made or whatever. Uh, but I always think about the role of these trips. I've gotten a lot more comfortable with going to places like that because I think the goal is we do have access to go check those places out and to show what makes them great so that you can lay that over on other places is kind of how I look at those. I don't look at these trips and there are elements of, oh, you should go check this place out, but I don't think these are like, we're not travel agents. You know, I don't think these are like, you need to go, here's your ready-made itinerary, go follow the footsteps. Oh, what the fuck, you guys went to a private club. Like, I don't look at those the same way. I look at them almost more like a, I don't, this is not comparing, but like Chef's Table is a good instance of like, man, I'm not going to eat at any of these restaurants, but I like to know what they're doing. That's interesting. You know, where are they taking inspiration from?
Can I say I just rewatched our Sylvie's episode from season 5 of Taurus Sauce, and for some other projects we're doing, loved it. But there we had interviewed Scott Campbell, the owner of Sylvie's, and he's talking about he's out in Eastern Oregon and the town he grew up in, and the lumber mill closed in the '80s and economic downturn. It's been tough out there in the high desert. And he's saying with Sylvie's, he's like one eco resort's not going to change the economic situation for 2 counties, in Eastern Oregon. But hopefully it's symbolic and it's a start for other people to invest in this area and show that like people will come if you do a good job. And I think that's exactly what's happened in Nebraska over the last 30 years, right? Sand Hills proves that like if you build it, they will come. And then you get a Wild Horse, and then you get Dismal River, then you get the Prairie Club. And so I think it was fun to see that almost from a different part of the country, a different guy talking about his resort almost economically similar to this.
Yeah, I think that's well said. As far as kind of like who can take this trip, who should take this trip, the travel agent sort of element of it, because I do think that there is some of that. Like I said, I'm not trying to speak out of both sides of my mouth, but TC, how do you recommend this as far as like prerequisites? Is this like a, oh, you have to go to Scotland first, you have to go to Ireland, you got to go to Australia, the light bulb's not going to click until you've seen certain things? Or is this like a no, go hop in the suburban and go check it out as soon as possible? You know what I'm
Yeah,
trying to get at there?
totally. Yeah, I don't think there's any prerequisites for this trip. I think this trip is almost a prerequisite for some of those other trips of hey, if you can't, whether time wise or budget wise or like if you can't get to Scotland or you can't get to Australia, this is the best parts of that in your own backyard. And uh, coming from Jacksonville, it can certainly feel like it's probably as quick for me to get to Scotland as it is to get to the first tee at Wild Horse or Frederick Peak or one of these places. But like you don't need a travel agent to book this, right? You can, and then with the advent of rodeo dunes in the next few years, and like you could fly in and out of Denver and stop at Common Ground on your way out, or there's just so many like you can make this trip your own. You could go out of Omaha, you could drive down from the Twin Cities and do this. I think um, you've got Awari Dunes, you've got Landman, like we said, then there's a dozen other courses out there that we didn't go to that are publicly accessible. There's some cool stuff up in the northwestern part of the state that feels more like desert scapes and mesas and arroyos kind of thing. So I think there's something for everybody, but it's highly accessible. Like, I-80 is right there. And then you're kind of just taking jaunts off of I-80 to go up. And, you could do a 3 or 4 day trip, you could do a 10-day trip, and you could build in fly fishing or tubing or something else to it. But yeah, it's just one of those things that, like, I don't think these places are getting overrun. Like, I think it's probably a lot more difficult to get a tea time at Wild Horse or Prairie Club these days, but you can go to Frederick Peak, you can go to you can stop at these honesty box places, and, like, those fill up the tank for me just as much as the private clubs and the resorts. Like, it's truly, to me, like, this trip was as much about the road trip and the windshield time as it was about the golf courses themselves. And you're going through all these different landscapes, and you're surrounded by just awesome wildflowers the whole time. And I don't know, just hanging out with you guys. It was fun.
You took the words out of my mouth. You mentioned those jaunts off of I-80, and to me, that is going to be one of the lasting memories. It's like all the golf courses are great. Sandhills is probably my favorite golf course in the United States. Like all of that stuff is so cool. But what I don't have a lot of in my life is true just driving fast on open roads and wide open spaces. That's lacking, you know.
Hell yeah,
And that
brother.
is a man, that was fun. It's just it's a great yeah, it's just a funny kind of push and pull, right? Where you pull into a place like Augusta Winds or Thetford or Mullen Golf Club or whatever, and maybe if you don't have the eye or if you don't have the context or you don't have whatever, yeah, maybe it doesn't look like a lot to look at. But man, go do it for 2-3 days and see how much your heart rate drops and your blood pressure drops a little bit. You know, it's like it's one of those trips for me where it's like, yeah, maybe not all the golfers in your life are going to understand what you're doing, but I promise it's going to click once you get out there. We were joking about it, you know, and we kept kind of saying like, "Oh my God, this is Nebraska." There were so many people in my life where they're like, "Oh, what do you got coming up?" I was like, "Oh, we're doing this big massive film in Nebraska." Like, what? Like, why? What are you talking? Nebraska? Really? I'm like, "Oh yeah." Do people not realize like it's kind of it? Like that's the best we got pretty much, you know. And it takes kind of a week to package all that up in a way that I think people like really resonates with people who have
Yeah.
never been there.
Deej, there's a quote this calls to mind. Starts, her trips always ended near a city somewhere, way out in the freight yard with smoke clouding the air, where a turmoil of trains made a great noisy rumble on crisscrossing tracks, an impossible jumble. And that's how it feels, kind of
Is this the
living.
Is
caboose,
that the caboose that got
This is the
loose?
caboose that got loose.
which I
And
haven't
what she
seen yet? TC, did you put it in the mail? I haven't seen it yet.
I did. I ordered it through, delivery. Should have
All
been
right,
there last Friday.
all
So,
right, I gotta,
what she
I got some
wished
problems going
most
on
to
in that
be
department.
much more than the rest was a cabin she'd seen on her trips through the West, a little log shack half covered with vines, perched on a slope in a forest of pines.
There you
You can
go.
get that in Nebraska too.
That's
You know?
right.
Can I the thing I would add is uh sometimes I don't want to say frustrated, but sometimes golf trips can feel so
Yeah.
scheduled. If you are looking to take a golf trip that is unscheduled and you're looking for that flexibility over a 4 or 5 day period, this is the perfect golf trip to take. Where yeah, you're gonna have to do some driving, but you can roll up to these honor boxes and places like Frederick's Peak, and you can have that flexible schedule to work in yeah, you'll have to book things with Prairie Club and with Wild Horse, but you can work around that. That's what I really enjoyed about it. It felt like we could change our itinerary on the fly.
Build in time for the rodeo, baby. You never know
Yeah.
when you're gonna drive by one. So
Coach
I think
Night Cafe, T. Arthur. Yeah.
exactly the J&L Cafe on
Yeah.
the way out. Uh, I think that's a lot of throat clearing on the actual trip itself. But I think let's get into the itinerary a little bit. I'll keep you guys moving so that we don't get too bogged down with the left side of this fairway, the right side of this green type of stuff. But we started at Mr. Belding's place, Bayside, like you said. Neil, I want to ask you a simple question. What are you going to remember most about Bayside?
The aquifer. Massive body of water out there. Didn't expect that. So that was
The
just the
reservoir. We couldn't
landscape.
see
That's
the
the
aquifer was
reservoir.
under the ground.
Sorry.
But the aquifer,
Yeah.
yes. Or I'm sorry. God, now you got me twisted. The reservoir. Yes.
Triple landlocked, gentlemen. Triple landlocked. All right. No, I think the some dunes and what will I remember the routing, a lot of blind shots. Just the paralysis I would have to design some of these golf courses and where to go next. It's you get out to a tee. It's like you could tell me we're going 180 degrees that way. Like 3 or 4 times I was like, we're going that way. Okay, cool. That's just the thrill for me. I love that. I don't know what's coming next, but you don't know where you're going, but there's also no trees. So that's very disorienting. And I like playing a course like that from time to time.
Hand up. We wanted to play the back. Could only get off the front. The back had, it was jam packed. We didn't have enough time to play all 18. I think a lot like the back is much more notable and gets all sorts of more notoriety. So hand up, my fault there, but we did play 11. But I've heard that there's a par three on the back that's even more outrageous. JD was telling me stuff. Which shout out to JD. He was a Sherpa and a awesome counsel the entire trip, and in the pre planning segment, even down to like, hey, you guys got to go to this convenience store truck stop in Ogallala that this is Nebraska for you. So
Yeah, that was great. You mentioned the 11th hole. That's going to stick with me. Approximately 950-yard par five that plays down a spine. Please go watch the video if you don't know what we're talking about. There's great visuals of that. TC, I'd like to commend you on just playing a real golf hole. Neil, you played it
Sure.
much the way that I probably would have played it had I not been behind the camera. I think you lost a couple balls, and TC had like a 15-footer for birdie, which I think kind of sums up the volatility of that golf hole.
Yes.
I'll
yeah,
remember as well
there was some flack being tossed around and on socials of just like, oh yeah, no laying up. Like you guys are laying up on the on. I was like, it's like a 650-yard par five straight under the wind.
yeah, that's a real you weren't there, man. You don't really know what it was like. The I would throw out just kind of the resort. I don't know the right way to say it. Like kind of the resort setup without it feeling like a resort. I was that was unexpected to me.
Vacation
Yeah,
town.
kind of a vacation,
Yeah.
rent a cabin, play golf, rent a boat, do some water skiing, but you're in the middle of Nebraska that was an immediate like, oh, this is not it's just not what I was expecting. I was expecting a lot of cornfields. There was a lot of that, but that was just a bit of a zag and a um cool kind of vacation spot that felt like it was in the middle of nowhere that had a great golf course attached to it. So that was if you're within a couple hours drive, I'm sure you already know about this place, but if not, it seemed worth checking out. It seemed like a very fun kind of family or buddies sort of destination. We tried to stop at Pelican Beach, but simply were drawn away by the gravitational pull of the rodeo, the Arthur Rodeo. Shout out to the friends we met along the way there and the barbecue truck that we got to go to. Anything TC Pelican Beach? I know we didn't get to go there, but any kind of overview of that?
No, I think it's like both Bayside and Pelican Beach. I think it's messing with me because on the Bayside website it says Dan Axland and Dave Proctor,
Hmm.
and it just makes me second guess. It's Dave Axland and Dan Proctor.
Right, correct.
um, so they both they were shapers and architects in their own right at Sand Hills, but Wild Horse, and then they're the architects of record at Wild Horse and continue to work on it. And then they also did Bayside, but then one of them did Pelican Beach, so I felt like it was going to be a good add on, a little bit out of the way for us. I mean, there's only like there's a road every 30 miles out there too, and but yeah, we were driving by the rodeo in Arthur. We're like, oh man, like all right, we got to stop there. And yeah, so sad to miss Pelican Beach. We've joked shoe program, 24-hour lockdown.
Shout out to Denzel.
But yeah,
Pelican Bay
basically,
Golf Club.
yeah, just I think another one along another reservoir that's just yeah, like whoa, we're in Nebraska. So
Yeah. Big shout out to the bunkhouse in Arthur. If we've got any listeners there, great place to
Quiet night at the
wet the
bunkhouse. It was
whistle.
great.
Yeah, I want to meet some of those people that apparently ride the horses into the bar. We didn't get to meet any of those people, but it sounds like that's a great place I'd love to revisit sometime in my life.
Neil's a big save a horse, ride a cowboy kind of guy.
Exactly.
Sure.
A real yes, that's right. Frederick Peak was the next one we went. A Tom Lehman joint. It was 10 holes, right? And
10 holes.
you buy 9, you get one free.
Yeah.
Which was great.
That
Ran into
was
our
that was a little bit of driving from like that was a big day. We flew into Denver. We stopped at the J&L Cafe in Stapleton outside of, just outside the Nebraska state line. Went and played Bayside, went to the rodeo, went to the bar, then drove 2.5, 3 hours up to Valentine. I was like, I'm trying to prepare you guys for like, hey, like I'm not gonna lose you guys day one here. Like this is,
It was a
I
true
think it's
travel day.
important that we rip up to Valentine, check into the Comfort Inn, get there that night, be able to stay there 2 nights. But man, that was a lot of travel that day.
You must have so many
God, I was
comfort
such a
in
moron.
points.
I had on top of that, I had a 10 strain challenge going that month. So I hit the broken elliptical at the Comfort Inn at like 1 a.m. Sick.
TC, you must have so many comfort in points after this trip as well.
That's private. That's
Yeah.
private. I don't want to divulge. I'm a platinum member now at Choice Hotels.
Quick break to hear a word from our friends at Golf Pride. For more than 75 years, Golf Pride has been trusted by golfers at every level to deliver grips that perform when it matters most. From tee to green, it's all about confidence in your hands. Most golfers spend plenty of time thinking about putters, maybe not enough time thinking about a grip. That's where Golf Pride's all new zero taper putter grip comes in. Zero taper joins the popular reverse taper. You might have seen Solly's big on the reverse taper. It joins that collection. Is built with a parallel shape that gives you the same feel in both hands, helping to promote a consistent grip pressure and more repeatable strokes on the greens. It doesn't try to change how you putt. It just helps you do it more consistently. Zero taper is available in medium and large and multiple colors, so there's an option for everyone. And listeners of the podcast get 20% off a full set of 13 swing grips and one putter grip at golfpride.com with code NLU20 at checkout. There's a new code for 2026, NLU20 at checkout. And Nest members get 25% off. So there's another perk of being a Nest member. You can find the code in your member profile if you're a Nest member and you want to save 25%. Zero taper is available now wherever grips are sold. Golf Pride, the #1 grip in golf. Let's get back to the podcast. All right, well, Frederick Peak, Neil, we hit that first thing the next morning. Awesome golf course, crazy land movement, lots going on. What stuck with you from there?
I mean, what else? Like, I said it in the film, community felt like a community golf course. My guy, Steve, talked to him before the round, all the signs he did, just all the little unique things that, you know, like make it the definition of a community golf course. It was awesome. It was quirky and fun, just fun shots from start to finish. And very cool landform in Freddie's Peak to orient
It's
you.
funny. We were talking about this in the car because all of us live in fairly big cities, and don't have a ton of touch points to like very small towns. And so you get into a town like that with 300 people, 400 people in some of those towns. Valentine's a little bit bigger, but not much. And we are kind of joking about it. We're like, well, what would if you moved here, no laying up doesn't exist. You get dropped into this town. Like, what do you think you're doing? What's your move? And then we met Steve. We're like, I think I'd try to just do that. Like that, setting up a golf course, a community golf course in a small town. Like, man, I don't know. That might be the playbook. That's shout out to
Yeah.
him. But
Well,
yeah,
it was so cool too of like Steve was talking about how when they built it, that the local high schoolers, they taught them, like they built the clubhouse themselves and basically had, all right, yeah, we taught the local high schoolers like how to do, electrician work, how to do the siding on the clubhouse, how to put the flooring in the, and it truly felt like a center of gravity, just a focal point in the community right from the start there.
Yeah. I'll remember that downhill par 3 was
Yeah.
severe. I remember that downhill par 5 that just felt like you're hitting off the edge of the earth down, 200 feet. And I'll remember the homemade signs. You shouted that out, Neil. That was handcrafted stuff.
Big walk too.
It was a big walk.
I was gassed. I saw Ian Gilly, Sugarloaf Social Club, posted, like, he did a Nebraska trip. Gosh, this was probably 6, 7, 8 years ago. And I remember him posting a bunch of carousels from that. And it's always been on their hidden gem map. So this place has always been, like, you want to talk about different landscapes and landforms like that. I was like, whoa, where is that? Like,
Yeah.
filed that away in the back of my mind. And it's just been like a source of inspiration to get there for a long time. But they also had that, it was like that little structure that was along the creek or along the river there, and they dammed up
Yeah.
the thing, and then the dam broke like almost immediately. Back in the, what was that, the 30s or the 40s?
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
big, kind of concrete structure up in the air in the middle of the woods. That was
I will say we like a big walk for a community course. Keep the community
yeah,
healthy.
exactly. From there, we moved on to the Prairie Club. I think a couple of cool things to shout out about the Prairie Club is kind of it sits on the land right adjacent to Cap Rock Ranch, which is the private Gil Hance Jim Wagner golf course up there. It is it's a cool model that I know exists in a lot of places, but I hadn't really been to one of these places, I don't think, where it's 36 holes and they basically flip flop each day. The members have one of the golf courses private to the membership one day and the public has the other one, and then they flip. So you play one course on, if you're a member, you play one course on Monday, you play the other course on Tuesday, and then you probably head out or whatever. But if you're the public, you still have access to both. It's just a cool, very cool model that I hadn't really seen, that seems to make a lot of sense for those types of resorts that are far flung, that take some getting to, but maybe can't necessarily sustain their own private sort of membership. Just kind of felt like a true best of all worlds. It seems like they have a really cool thing going there with that.
They did a great lunch
They do a
as
great
well.
lunch there. Yeah.
Awesome lunch.
It was a really a lot of fun energy at
Yeah.
Prairie Club. I just sense like, man, if I'd have so much fun staying here for 2 days playing golf dawn to dusk with the horse course and the two big courses. Just a lot of options and look like very comfortable amenities.
Neil, I
The
thought you hated this course.
I hated how I played on the horse course. I was beating myself up.
Rules.
He was making up the rules. It's classic TC. No, I got my ass kicked on the horse course, but I liked it. Maybe not for that format, but I loved it.
I think the ultimate compliment to the Prairie Club. So Kevin Jackson, who I mentioned, our editor, was not on this trip, but booked his own trip to Prairie Club before he finished editing. He was like, "Oh my god, I'd never, yeah, this place is it. Like I'm going here," which is a pretty good testament.
Yeah.
But
I
I think
would
it's
say
also
file that one away too for like, hey, like we need to go back and do here's all, all however many 40 some, 48 holes or whatever at Prairie Club. Cause I
yeah,
think like going around it's the dunes course and the forest course or the
Pines.
pines course. Dunes course looked crazy. Like you just, awesome, thrilling shots around dunes and crazy greens and stuff. And then the Pines course was designed by our guy Graham Marsh,
Yeah,
who did Ocean Dunes
Ocean
down in
Dunes.
King Island, which was nuts to like put the like two and two together.
But we kind of all were like, hey, who designed this place? I think we were all like seeing some
Yeah.
like weird deja vu stuff. And then when we like heard his name, we're like, oh my God, yes, I have seen this before. I have seen this style
Neil,
before. He has a flourish to his design.
it totally reminded me of, remember that place we played in, like on the Montana, British Columbia border?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it.
Something, it wasn't the Wilderness Club, but it was a Nick Fowler, or it was a Gary Player design. And I remember being there and we were playing the 17th hole. And I remember being there and I texted Rob Collins. And I was like, Rob, this is really weird. Like I'm at this course in in Montana, or it was either Montana or Western Canada there. And I swear to God, like this green reminds me of this green at Sweetens Cove. It's crazy. It's uncanny. He texts back. He's like, "Oh yeah, I shaped that green." And it, like there's just something in the DNA of
Yeah.
of some of these architects where it's like you can see their DNA on something, very, very clearly.
I think other notable things about the Prairie Club, probably where we met, hate to say the MVP of the trip, but certainly shortlisted. Our guy
Yeah.
Roger, the COO,
Big
who
Raj.
just drove us around at approximately 85 miles an hour in that ATV, just haranguing the members, shouting stuff that you could see in the video. I mean, just a shot of life. I think in the best possible way. Part stand up comedy, part National Park Service tour guide. I mean, it was just electric stuff. I could have done that for 6 or 7 days without getting bored, I think.
I think
with
Roger might be the personification of the caboose that got loose. Like he's just
Yeah.
living there along the river in his happy place, and yeah, he's the
Did
man.
you guys notice that on the horse course, he showed up with a really, really dirty white t-shirt, and then he changed into a clean white t-shirt. And I was like, God, I kind of want to get to a point in life where I just wear white
you
t-shirts.
should.
Like
Yeah.
that's good stuff.
Yeah, just but genuinely like an awesome way to see the property too, because we didn't get to play the golf
Yeah.
courses, but I weirdly remember those two courses better than some of the other ones I've seen on trips like this. You know, just him going around, and I might be hitting that point in my life where I'm just like, "Ah, I don't even know if I need to play anymore. I kind of get more of a kick out of just going around and looking at stuff in detail and
Yeah.
having an expert point stuff out to me. I
Drink a
almost
couple beers.
yeah, like I don't know if I need to play it, but I love talking about the exercise.
I
Uh,
think my favorite moment of the entire trip was that, or one of them, maybe top 3 favorite moments, was just taking a dip in the river
yeah.
there and looking up at
Just respecting the canyon,
yeah.
physically respecting the fuck out of the canyon.
Well, while we were down there, you could look up to the top of the canyon and you could see the flag sticks from Cap Rock Ranch, which is just like how close those properties are.
Just so far up there,
Yeah,
though, that canyon's
it is
huge.
huge. Not what I was expecting. But again, just kind of a funny, element to this trip where I'm like, okay, I haven't heard of a million golf courses in Nebraska, but I know they're out there and I know they take some driving, and it was just very funny to be like, "Oh, these 2 are, like, touching. Huh, that's"
Yeah.
so there was land that was originally owned by, the people who own the Prairie Club, I believe, who sold off that land to Cap Rock folks to develop that, gosh, probably, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago now, something like that. But my gosh, was that place stunning. That was one that is, again, you almost feel a little going back to what I was saying about Sandhills, you feel a little guilty where you're like, "Ooh, this is tough. I know you guys can't come see this place, but if you have a way, you should because it rules." It's the Cap Rock was kind of blew me away
High
how
end, a
cool it
little
was.
quieter
Yeah.
over there. Very very polished. But I said it on the video. I haven't seen a ton of Gil Hanse's original stuff, and that is for me the best one. I was just like, whoa, just really, really well routed golf course with some multiple signature holes, great use of the landscape. I mean, it was awesome.
I think getting out to the canyon to pay respects early.
Can we just I
Then
don't even know if this was in the video. Was it at Cap Rock on the pencils?
yeah, it's their tagline, like, "Respect the
Respect the
canyon."
canyon. So we were, yeah, canyon respecters the whole trip, and I think for a
Uh,
lifetime now.
yeah, and yeah, so you get out to it early, you got, a couple holes out there, and then you go away from the canyon. To me, those were just as good. The par fives were really cool. It's like, 'cause so often you play a course like that, similar to certain courses along the ocean, right? Where, "Oh, we're going back inland. Alright, cool." Like, just go into low power mode for a while. Anything, I felt like the holes were like, and I would say another thing with Gil and Jim courses, I love trying to suss out, all right, I know Wags designed this green because it's because it's like it's sadistic or there's something crazy going on. And there's a few of those greens out there. And I think one of the coolest things at Caprock was the different tee boxes. It's much more about offering up a different angle than it is just adding distance. And there was so much of, really, really messing with your eye as far as the angle. Like if you looked at where various tee boxes were, it was much more like, lateral as opposed to just straight depth, which is cool. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, no,
Almost
it
like
makes
the
sense.
circumference of a circle,
Yes.
right? That you're kind of moving around. I think of that one, and this is what's crazy is, again, I'm behind the camera. I didn't even play this golf course, but I'm like, I can picture exactly what you're saying. I can picture every square inch of 15, 16, 17, 18. The one you're talking about is the par 3. I forget what number it is, right? It's probably 10 or
5 or
no,
6?
it's later in the round.
Oh,
11 or something, 10 or 11.
Yes.
Right? Where like that
Yeah.
would almost felt like Kingsley Club, number 9
Yes.
at Kingsley, where it's like, man, you could make this a 360-degree par 3, just move the tee box all the way around this thing. It just
Yeah.
changes it so much, and it's so cool, especially with how much the wind plays a factor, the firmness plays a factor. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
The one thing I'll say, that messed with me for until I finally looked it up was it is the Snake River, but it's not that Snake River in the canyon. I was like, man, I was like, God, I feel like we're pretty far in the middle of the country. I thought this was landlocked. How is the snake? Does the
Snakes.
snake start?
I swear
Is
I've
it
heard
going
that
over the
name
Continental
snakes
Divide?
before.
Divide? What are we doing here? And it turns out it's a much smaller Snake River. So just know
I was
that.
glad you looked that up. That was the if you have the question, someone else in the class probably has that same question, Neil. I was thinking
He was
about that
wrecking
too.
me for a
Yeah.
while. I'm like, God, I keep seeing Snake River on all these maps. What's going on here?
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else from Caprock. Great post round beer in the parking lot. Highlight of the trip there. That was lovely. And then we're back.
And Uncrustable, great
That's right.
Uncrustable.
Stage, I thought I made the ace on 16.
Did too. That
Legitimately.
was very close.
Like,
Very, very close.
Yeah, the
Some
light
good-
got good and it was like, whoa.
Yeah, some good golf being played by the boys out there. Next up, we moved over to Wild Horse. We stopped at a couple different places on the drive the next day back towards Gothenburg. That's where we stopped. I think this is becoming a DJ and TC trademark. I hear is just stopping at golf courses without playing them. I think I get a big kick out of that as well. Just stop, driving 15 minutes, 20 minutes out of the way. Like, let's just go see that place. Kind of stand in the parking lot, look around, throw the drone up, get back in the car. We did that at a couple of fun little mom and pop places, which was great. Made it to Wild Horse for the Thursday night men's league or Tuesday night men's league. I forget what night it was, but a girthy, robust men's league going on there. There was
people competing out there.
And you know what? Wild Horse
Thursday night.
You know what Wild Horse had was the I think this is where we developed the parking or the pickup truck index. It's like how many pickup trucks are in the parking lot is I don't know what it means, but I know it means something as far as what my enjoyment of that golf course is going to be. And you pull in every member.
That was like a 90-10 ratio.
Exactly. I was like, ooh, I think
so many trucks.
I think I'm going to like this place. I think this is going to be a good vibe and a good, a good offering, a good value proposition for this golf course.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was. TC, you've called it the Great American Golf Course. Would you like to expound on that?
Yeah, no offense to Tom Coyne or to our very own Ben Hotailing, which I think some guy's backyard was glossed the Great American Golf Course. But for me, this is it of just everything that you want to see at when you rock up to any sort of course. It's got you got the Thursday night men's league kind of thing going on. You got great agronomy. Like I mispronounced his name in the video, but Josh Mahar, the superintendent out there, he's kind of along with Kyle, like he's like the guy in, let's say, not only Nebraska agronomy, but just probably generally speaking, nationwide, worldwide, one of the best ones doing it right now. And you see that from start to finish out there, like the collars and the surrounds of those greens are so pure, not to mention the greens themselves. Tony and the staff inside is just friendly. You can rock up to that bar and grab a drink. You can, they do a nice dinner. They do a great hot dog. They got that porch out back. They're building several more cabins. The whole thing is it's like world class and local at the same time. And I think it's, like that place reminds me of, like, man, if we had more wild horses, golf would be thriving to a level that, it's just, it definitely reminds me more of what you'd see in Scotland as far as great golf courses that are just community bound.
Such a good name to sum up the course, just instead of a lot of race horses in the golf world in the US, thoroughbreds. It's like, we need more wild horses, man. Just anybody can rock up. Just no fences. Let's go.
It's gone country. Rope in the wind.
That's right.
Yeah, to co-sign all of it. Place I'd wanted to see forever and did not disappoint. Just I don't know what else I can't really belabor it. I don't know what else you're looking for out of a golf course than that. Great shape, great people, great price. Just close to I-80. I mean, it's
Drilling holes.
yeah, it's awesome. And I don't think we're certainly not sharing the secret with anybody who lives within a couple 100 miles of that place. I think that the secret's kind of out, but that is a man. If business brings you there, if a trip like this brings you there, it's just kind of inexcusable to miss it.
Yeah, and props to like, I think Gothenburg's a really cool little town or little city too, of just, you know, kind of one of those central hubs along I-80. There's, they pop up every 50 to 75 miles. You got, North Platte, Ogallala, Gothenburg, Kearney, Grand Island, all these places that kind of, little stops along both the highway and the railroad right there. But Gothenburg, like, there's, T Walker's was just a killer lunch spot. A few other spots in town there too. So yeah, and it's like it just feels like that. I think that feels like what you think Nebraska is going to be,
Yeah.
of like the stereotype of Nebraska in the best way. And then you can go up north and get weirder and get, you know, it kind of adds layers the farther north you go from a Gothenburg or a North Platte.
Finally, one more break in the action to say that we are presented today by East Sands Golf Company. Listen, we're talking about golf travel. If you're looking to take a golf trip, I would recommend reaching out to East Sands. It is a husband and wife team, Nick and Haley, that we love working with. Their customers work directly with them to plan their trips, and they do it because they're obsessed with golf. In particular, they're obsessed with links golf. So if you're looking, to plan a trip to Scotland, to Ireland, to England, some parts of continental Europe, Australia, they do a lot of different stuff, and they are very much worth reaching out to, and you can just get a sense of them very quickly from talking to them about their knowledge, their excitement for helping people save money on trips, helping people plan their first trips, helping people plan their 100th trip. They are a great resource for anybody looking to take a golf trip. They can speak to 30-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 80-year-olds, men and women, group trips, singles, whatever you've got. Nick and Haley are happy to help you out. If you are interested in reaching out, go to eastsandsgolf.co, eastsandsgolf.co/NLU. And Nest members, this is a big perk. Nest members can save $500 per person off any trip. Repeat uses are allowed. You want to plan multiple trips, you can save $500 each time just by being a Nest member. And also check out our February Nest podcast with Nick and Haley, where they break down how our partnership came together, how they got into this industry, kind of what makes them tick, some do's and don'ts on planning a trip. Great people, have become great friends and great partners of ours. So check out eastsandsgolf.co/NLU, and let's get back to the podcast. Later that afternoon, I think, right? We drove to Mullen. We played Mullen Golf Club, which is the 9-hole kind of community golf course that's maintained a little bit by the Sandhills agronomy team. What do they call it? The North Course, the South Course,
North Course.
the North
Yeah.
Course. I mean, just this is my stuff right here. There's an unlocked barn that has everybody's golf carts, everybody's kind of custom golf carts. Very low key type of vibe. Everybody's got a parking spot, and they've got all kinds of just great memorabilia tucked away in this barn. The golf course is, it's not much to look at, but man, it's just everything you need to go get out and look at some beautiful landscapes and have a great time, and knock the ball around. It was we got our guy Coach with the big handlebar mustache out there maintaining things. It ruled. TC, I know you got dosed with a Celsius. I don't know how
Yeah.
much of this day you even remember, but we had a great time.
I mean, this golf course will jump all over you if you let it. There's like, it's simple, it's not easy. If you get on the wrong side of the hole, or if you you get above the hole, some tough stuff out there. We played with one of the agronomy interns from Sandhills. Yeah.
Sorry, reminded me on that note, Neil, of like some of the strap courses we play where it's like there's nothing to it. Don't look for anything. But if you have to hole out and hit cups, you have no chance of shooting better than like 78. Like no chance.
Yeah. Well, there's no hiding from the
Yeah.
wind. It's like vast. There's just it's very, very exposed. But like, yeah, there's nothing.
You
to
will
it.
not make anything outside of 2 feet. You have no chance of making those putts. And it's just, you're going to be battling all day, even though there's there's not much to it. It's just
Yeah.
it's sick. It's so fun.
And like once every, I don't know, maybe 25 to 30 shots, I would just shank one. Like on the whole trip, I would just shank one. Which was both exhilarating and terrifying at the same time. But yeah, we play with one of the agronomy interns at Sand Hills. They do an awesome program there. He came out with us. That was great. And then um, just seeing coach in his element out there too. Just, messing with the irrigation heads and just kind of looking after the place was awesome. Just thinking about holes too. Like Neil, I love that you ended up under one of the trees out there, one of the few trees that's
One of the very
yeah,
few.
that was great. But it's very much like, hey, like you can hit it 400 yards on this line, but like you might have an awkward angle into the screen because the screen's tilted this way. It's you played good golf that day too. So, and it was cool to see Cam, the uh, one of the kind of OGs at Sand Hills. His son is out there,
Grinding.
grinding when we started, and he was still out there grinding when we finished. Like there's juniors out there. It's awesome. It's like the centerpiece of that community.
I was gonna say one thing I would love more of, or I know I'm in the right place, is when there's horses or cattle butting up against the golf course. Multiple times on this trip at Frederick's Peak and at Mullen specifically, I was like, oh, gotta go pet the horses.
Sure.
You can throw dogs, like everybody loves a course dog. At Wild Horse, ran into a course dog. I love having an animal encounter while I'm playing
Yeah,
golf.
you were pretty bummed you didn't bring your helmet.
I know.
Hop on.
No. Just jump over the barbed wire, take a quick
Do
bareback
some
ride.
light dressage. Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe next time. And then, I mean, the main event, Sand Hills Golf Club, like I mentioned, I don't know if we're breaking any news on this podcast talking about how great Sand Hills is, but as advertised, I think one of the coolest places you can possibly go in the game of golf. Unbelievably grateful to them for trusting us to film there. I know that's not something they just pass out lightly, so that was very awesome to be able to do, and kind of a, I don't know, lifetime sort of, I don't want to say achievement, but lifetime just box checked, I guess. Like that felt like a lot building to being able to do something like that at Sand Hills is
Wow. We got
meant a
DJ
ton.
checking boxes. We got Neil on the video saying that, you know, there's no great holes out here, that it's just a bunch of 7s and 8s.
I don't know how to, yeah.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. They just don't. It's all very subtle, and it's disorienting because it's vast, and so first time around you're like, well, I don't. How'd you decide to go this direction and not that direction? And there's not a lot of landmarks, so it's a place that I can see why members return and continue to return, and I could just see your love for this course growing with every round you play out there.
It's awesome. It's I mean, even holes that we didn't really feature in the film. A good example is number 4. Like 4 is like one of my favorite par 4s in all of golf. And the greens just, this is downhill par 4, and the greens just kind of benched in to the side of this little knoll, slopes in left to right. And then if you miss low right, like you're chipping uphill and you're like, all right, cool. Like you're making 5 or 6 there. No problem. It's a thrilling second shot, you know?
It reminds me so much of, there's so many, that one specific instance, like there's so much stuff like that scattered throughout Bandon Dunes, which again is when you start looking at like, that's kind of the point of trying to go to these types of places and show them off, is to see how some of these influences have kind of percolated all around. And that's a great example.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. And just, Dick Young's cap, like great man status,
yeah,
just,
unquestionably.
hey guys, I've got an idea here.
Just go with me, man.
Just go with it.
Yeah.
Vision.
People tell him he's crazy. No, all right, I'm going to see this thing through, and he thought through it, and then he stewarded it through the last 3 decades, and it's retained and retained the soul of the place, and not lost that rusticity and simplicity. I think it's remarkable.
And the other thing, and this is, I don't want to make it sound like this is true just because we had cameras there, because like lucky to have been there before, and it didn't feel this way either. But it is not. Neil, you talked about, sometimes you can show up to these great golf courses of the world and you feel a little uneasy and you're a little walking on eggshells. Like, yeah, man, it's hard to get out there. It's a very small membership and all of those things. But when you do get there, you don't feel like you're intruding. It is truly like, welcome on in, man. You're member for the time that you're here. This is what can we. It doesn't feel pretentious at all. It doesn't feel like you can't pronounce the things that are on the menu. It doesn't feel like you need to, act a certain way. It truly is just about like playing great golf and drinking cold beers and maybe having a cheeseburger. It's like, just take all the other stuff and get it out of the way. And what are people actually here to do? Like, play golf all day, sleep in a comfy bed, and then wake up and play golf all day the next day too. It just blows me away. I love it so much.
And it's such a credit to, yeah, to Cam, to Kyle, to Clint, to, the whole staff there for fostering that environment. And I think also it's like, respect the canyon is certainly the tagline at Caprock. I think, I think if there's a tagline at Sand Hills, it's like, it's respect the course, respect the staff, and like respect the porch too. Cause Ben's porch is like, that's kind of it's like the inner sanctum. And you don't like, we didn't, we filmed a little bit at the end of the day up there, but like during the day, it's like, you don't want to, infringe upon people. Like, that's a sacred space, and you don't want to, eavesdrop on anybody or record up there. Cause it's like, no, like that's, people are going up there to get away from the world.
Yeah.
So,
I think maybe that might take us to the Five Senses game, the big Randy honorable Five Senses game, because I got to think maybe Ben's porch is going to get some run in the Five Senses game. If you've never listened to this in the past, I think this started with maybe a trap draw that you guys were doing. Randy was maybe talking about his
yeah.
honeymoon, I think, is the first time I remember it. And him and his wife Kat like to play a game that's like, all right, favorite smell, favorite sound, favorite touch, favorite sight, favorite taste. So we can start we can go in that order if that's easiest. But TC, I'll start with you. Favorite smell from the trip.
Favorite smell. Huh.
I have one
I
if you
would
want me
say
if you want me to
go
go.
ahead. Yeah,
If you need a
yeah.
sec, because I
Go
feel like
ahead.
this is a easy first round draft pick. It's the grill at Ben's
Yeah.
porch, right? Like, you get done playing golf, sun's hot, everybody kind of flops down at a table, and there's just a rip roaring grill dishing out cheeseburgers. Is like, that's kind of it for me. That's a hard one to beat.
I would say, I mean, that is a hard one to beat. A nominee for me would be, I just love the smell of rolling around in a Ranger
Yeah,
or the ATV vehicles that
kicking up
like
dust.
with at Prairie Club. Yeah, and it's just like you got the fresh air, but you got the dust, but you got the gas. I don't know. It just feels like, hey, we're doing stuff. I love. There's something about that that's like, ho 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 ho. Like, let's get it. And it's more of a smell than any other. Maybe the feel of the wind, but I feel like it's more of a smell than it is any other
It's a great
sense.
one.
I'd say the smell of like being out there at 6 a.m. with Kyle, and he's cutting pins and we're just picking his brain for like 2 hours, but just the smell of sunrise on a golf course that's an hour and a half from the nearest city, or like that's a cool. I think the smell encapsulates like what all the other senses are doing, because it's truly like a sensual experience, right? You've got you know the quiet and that first light, like the brightness of that, but the smell to me is like it's just, yeah, it's just pure.
Favorite sound.
I don't want to squat on the wind
Yeah.
in these
Or lack
places,
of
just
wind
the
or lack
quiet.
of wind. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just like the dead silence is my first one. But I think trains.
Yeah.
I love the sound of a distant train, like Wild Horse. There's a train every hour or so, it felt like, or maybe I'm imagining that, but just hearing a train while you're playing golf is awesome.
I think we got the sound of those trains right next to us at the Sand Hills Motel in Mullen.
That's right. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of too.
God, that place was great. That's a good one. TC, any other nominees? You wanna move on?
I would say the sound of the rodeo. I'd
Yeah.
never been to a rodeo before, and just, yeah, that was, I don't know, that was cool.
Not the gun going off, but the the signal that it's, open
Yeah.
the gate, and then the stomping of the horses as they're
Yeah.
tracking down cows.
Pretty visceral.
It's great.
Yeah.
Favorite touch? That's an interesting one on this trip because it was a little bit of a not harsh trip, but I mean it was a lot of sunburn and wind and scratchy kind of motels. So I don't know if I wouldn't say we're
I
pampering
have one.
ourselves on this one.
At each of these courses, they had like water pumps,
Oh, that's a
like
good one.
well
Yeah,
pumps.
yeah.
And so like the touch of that, like the metal, when you're
Yes.
thirsty and you're just like, I'm just gonna drink water straight out of the ground is like I don't know, a very you could say it's not really a taste. It's more of a like water feels more like a touch, even if you're drinking it. But like drinking it out of like a
Yeah.
tin uh ladle was
That's a
great.
great one.
Yeah, Neil kind of already squatted on water there, and we mentioned it earlier, but like just getting in the river
Yeah, that's
there
that's a no-brainer too, for sure.
felt really good. I would say also just the touch of the steering wheel on a big ass American made SUV, like and just having the open road of I love just road trips like that and just driving and feeling like, all right, like we're gonna pilot this thing to some cool spots today, meet some cool people along the way, and yeah, that was great.
Favorite sight? I think for me is that storm rolling in to Sand Hills to truly
Tough to beat.
wrap up the trip. Ben captured some unbelievable shots of the lightning and the storm clouds as you're just looking out over the coolest holes in the world. As just a big ass storm comes in over the big sky. I mean, it was like that's hard to beat as well.
I would say it's the golden hour at Cap Rock, but you could say the same when we were at Mullen Golf Course. Like there's I don't know, there's almost like a filter on the light
Yeah.
when you get out on like the the vast, I don't want to say plains, but like in these sand hills where just it looks like you're in the 1950s. I can't really explain it. Just looks
Yeah.
different. And I think that site that hit me a couple times and I love it.
Well said.
I would say favorite site was rocking up to the drive-through at the Runza, and they stayed open for us. Like we got there.
No, we got it. They didn't stay open. We got there with like 2 minutes to go. And I
Yeah,
thought, sometimes people close like 5 minutes early, they shut
yeah.
it down and they didn't. They
So
took our
that
order.
was a really, really welcome sight because I was starving, and then Neil had booked the wrong dates, I think, for the
Try to book a hotel and sometimes you do it on your phone. It's like the dates will reset to, how they just like, sometimes you try to book a flight and they just pick like random dates like 2 months
yeah.
out. Be like, oh yeah, you want to go to Monterey, California, March 23rd. It's like, no, I want to go like in 2 weeks. Like, why do you keep defaulting to 2 months out? Same thing with the hotel. TC was not pleased. Sorry about that. That was
We all kept
Runza
our
was
wits
good.
about us. Yeah. The Runza was good. I don't think it wins favorite taste for me
No.
necessarily. I think T Walker's is probably going to get a lot of run here. The pie. I would throw out the Coors banquet beers that we had after that day
Yeah.
after Cap Rock, sitting on the tailgate and just like kind of first sip of an ice
Yeah,
cold
always nice to
Coors
have a cooler
banquet.
in the
Yeah.
back of a road trip vehicle. Shout out to Yeti for that one. I would say I got deep in the patty melt game on this trip. Like, patty melts at lunch was kind of my go-to. Was really feeling those.
Oh, that lunch we
Uh,
didn't. Yeah, the gas. What was
yeah.
it? TC, the Gaslight Cafe,
The
Coach Light
Coach Light
Cafe.
Cafe. Yeah.
It did a
They
nice
did a
lunch.
great lunch. Yeah.
I mean, I got to shout out. Favorite taste was non burger at Sand Hills Division was definitely I think it was a breakfast burrito at the
Oh
Quick
my
Stop
God, how is this? This should have been our lead story.
in Mullen. That place was ridiculously good. And then also on the way
No,
home,
not just that. You guys were saying this is like the best breakfast burrito I've ever had in my life.
it
You guys
is.
were
It
saying
remains. Yeah.
grandiose things about this gas station breakfast burrito you
Yes.
had.
And so the other day I hopped on the Nebraska Golf Association's podcast with Ben Vigil, and he said his buddy like owns or operates that gas station, that quick stop in Mullen. I said, well, please send my regards to the
Yeah.
chef. 'Cause
Somebody's doing a hell of a job.
yeah.
uh,
And then Ben got us onto the, we stopped at a
Please let him
we
know.
stopped at a Taco Bell
yeah.
just on the way back to Denver. We all had, like, midday
And what was
flights.
Ben's hack?
Spicy
Spicy
potato
potatoes.
taco, add beef. Yeah,
Add
which
beef.
is
That's
a
right.
play I've put into motion multiple times since that
Yeah,
trip.
yeah. I do wanna shout out, we didn't make it to this place, but JD gave us the recommendation of, at Ogallala, he said, quote, "The water hole in Ogallala," gas station that a couple of his buddies, Jeremy and TJ, run, both golfers. Quirky place, but might be right up the Strapaway's alley. We did not have a chance to pop into there, and that's one of my great regrets from 2025.
Hmm.
Mm.
Next time, gotta have something. Gotta
Mm.
have something to do next time.
Mm.
Well, I feel like we've hit a lot of what's on the agenda here. Any other kind of awards or lasting sort of takes you need to get into the record here?
No, I don't. I want to go back, and there's places you go where you're like, good. Like TC said earlier, checked it off the list. Glad I saw it. Nebraska doesn't feel like that to me. It feels like I would love to return.
Yeah.
I think like, hat off to Ben for, all of his hustle, DH to you for, all of your hustle and wisdom on that front. And then to Kevin as well. Like, I think Kevin and Ben, like, kind of unsung heroes of our operation on the video side of, they're like, for Kevin to put a lot of this together that without being on the trip is like a Herculean monumental task, and to be able to pick up on all the themes and characters and bits and bobs and kind of just hit the ground running as soon as we give him this big ass pile of footage is never ceases to amaze me. So, yeah, and
Here,
yeah,
here. I
just
think I would just add to that. I mean, in this past year where we didn't have a tourist sauce trip, we've kind of been trying to do these mini one-off sort of things and figure out the right way to not necessarily like systematize that, but have a little bit better process for how we can bring those trips to life with a smaller group and a smaller footprint. And yeah, Ben and Kevin largely are the people that have brought all of that to life, and they do an unbelievable job. And this trip kind of felt like the culmination of that. And what started in really like Argentina, and then went as wide ranging as Milwaukee, upstate New York, Montana, Northern Ireland, all the other places that we went over the past year. Like this kind of felt like the culmination of that and kind of the best of all of those aspects. And I'm just so proud of how it turned out. They did an
yeah.
awesome job bringing it to life.
And I think it's important to note, like, that stuff's not in lieu of Torah sauce or strapped. It's just like it's additive, and it's because we can't
Don't
go
put that in the newspaper.
we can't go do that stuff, or like, like sometimes, and things have to, like, schedules have to align and all that. And we got plenty of that stuff planned for this year, but it's like, hey, this is a different thing, and it's, we're passionate about this stuff.
Why not?
So
Why not
Yeah,
both?
and
exactly.
a lot more in the hopper too, right? I mean, there's just a bunch of stuff that's already been shot, which is always kind of fun with these types of trips. Is like, yeah, a lot of times by the time they come out, it's been a couple weeks, months. So we've got a Jacksonville film, Guatemala, Casa de Campo, God, other stuff I'm even probably forgetting about by this point. So lots more coming, and but this was a great high water mark, I thought. So appreciate all the people who reached out and had some great feedback. Again, I would direct most of that to Ben and Kevin on the video front. Uh, but TC, just a job well done on executing the vision here as well, because I know this one's been rattling around for a while, and it turned out. We always joke, it's like if you could show me that finished product at the end of or at the beginning, like when we're doing our first pre-production meeting, I'm like, no, that's kind of exactly what I want it to look like. Is it's always good to get to that point at the end.
Yeah.
TC's vision, TC's Ouija board.
Yeah. Like,
I think
that's kinda exactly what we were going for.
if you're gonna do a trip like this, I wouldn't recommend doing it in the order that we did it in. I think some of that's just like you have to make lemonade with, all right, like, this is the day that we can get on this course, but this is the day that we can get on this course. But these are the places we want to go, and we have to figure out how that routes and how that, ladders up. And then sometimes it creates a longer drive, or it creates, you know, a night at the Comfort Inn in this place that we weren't anticipating on. Which shout out to Comfort Inn too. They were
Great.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free breakfast.
Yeah. But yeah, and just, can't say enough great things about Kyle Hegland. Like, one of the most competent, thoughtful, earnest, like, direct people I've ever met in golf. Of just, very you can tell that, like, people that work for him, the people that work with him, just, just immense respect for him. He commands respect, and I think it's well earned. So,
Yeah. But undoubtedly agree.
one last shout out. Josh at Wild Horse puts up the agronomy schedule on their website, and I want to say how cool I think that is. Of, like, there's so many courses that when you're planning a trip, you don't know what you're, you know, when in the season you're planning of, we could parachute in somewhere and, oh, you know what, guys, we forgot to tell you we aerated 3 days ago, or that sort of thing. They have aeration, they have top dressing, they have all that stuff on there, and, built out for the whole year. And I just think, like, that's such a cool feature of their website, but also a reflection of, like, those guys have their stuff together there, of, the pro shop, the agronomy staff, all of that, of, like, that's so reflective of competency. And Neil, like, you shouted it out of, like, there's a lot of competency going around at Wild Horse specifically, but just generally speaking in Nebraska too.
Just got to stay out of the wooga.
People just handling their business.
Yeah.
Right? Just handle your business. Get ahead. Handle your business.
Here,
Love
here.
it.
Well, guys, let's put that one in the books. If you haven't watched the film on our pod, or on our, if you haven't watched the film on our YouTube channel, go rectify that on the No Laying Up YouTube channel. Turned out great. And guys, until the next one, cheers.